If you've been following our journey, you know we've spent the last few years traveling the world, but it did not begin there. I look back now and I could see you just became more aware of what was internally happening. Even if you hadn't have done that work, your body would have given out because you were just carrying so much. Looking at you, sometimes there was like a glassy-eyed look. It was really, really scary. I think we knew we had to make some changes. We did 22 countries with the kids for 2 years overseas. Some of the hardest moments of our life. Our marriage very nearly did not make it.
Yeah.
Our mental health was at an all-time low. Those years, the combination of travel, of discomfort, of leaning into risk and faith, learning to create safety within ourselves and fight for our marriage and connect with the kids, it changed everything. What if thriving wasn't about getting life perfect?
But learning to find peace and purpose right in the mess.
I'm Kelsey.
And I'm Tom, and we walked away from the version of life that looked right to build one that feels alive.
We'll talk about the beauty and the struggle, from parenting and marriage to faith, well-being and travel.
This is The Whole of Us.
So it begins. Welcome to episode 1.
Welcome.
For The Whole of Us.
Well, this is a bit exciting.
Yes, very mixed emotions. We have wanted to do this for, we've talked about a podcast for years.
Yeah, honestly, I think more seriously, probably 4 or 5 months. It's amazing how things get delayed and it's easy to avoid, and there's a whole range of emotions about having conversations.
Yeah, look, I've had to process through why on earth we would want to do a podcast and put ourselves out there more. You might know us from The Whole of Us on social media.
Which is funny because you've been putting yourself out there for a long time.
Yeah, I think it's very different in short format. So this is longer. There's less places to hide. The people pleaser in me doesn't want to offend anyone or wants everyone to like me. But
sound bites are great because you can just niche down and just create a really beautiful little thing. Whereas a longer format conversation, well, it's challenging because there's more opportunity to be taken out of context, and there's also more opportunity to actually have a real conversation, to flesh out.
Yeah, and that part excites me. Yeah.
And I think that's it. Like, whilst social media and the short form stuff has been really fun, this is where our hearts are. This is what we love doing. This is
having conversations.
Yeah. I mean, this is how we live life.
Yeah. And I think, gosh, there's just so much exciting stuff to share and process through. And I think I'm so glad we haven't started it before now.
Yeah.
It would have probably been a train wreck. We were
I would have been fine.
Yeah, probably. But we're glad you're here. We're glad you're listening.
So glad you're here. It's exciting.
Yeah. So today we thought we would just introduce ourselves and share a little bit about our journey and how we got to where we are.
Yeah, we want to bring you along for the ride. Again, if you've been following along on social media, you'll have seen little bits and pieces. Snippets. And I guess that's it. It is snippets. I've always loved your deep, deep desire and value for authenticity and for sharing not just the highlight reel, as so many social medias turn into, but you've sought to actually show the messy side of life. And I guess that's where we want to have a broader conversation that actually allows us to share both the beauty and the mess, like the joy of both.
The concept of this realistic, thriving life, because I think there's so many versions, even conversations out there that look really perfect. But
yeah, well, and even that word thriving sounds so easy to see that as performance driven.
For sure.
And perfection.
Yeah, and what if it was just simpler than that? What if it was just enjoying your life, being open to opportunities and conversations and connected with the people you love
Realistic.
and the world around you? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So if you've been following our journey, you know we've spent the last few years traveling the world, but it did not begin there.
No, I mean, look, 22 countries later, we've done pretty well. And the kids have done phenomenally well. If you don't know, we've got 2 daughters, Isla and Alessia, who are now 11 and 9 years old.
Yeah, so we left when they were 6 and 8. But the story begins well before that. So we were married at 23.
Yeah.
22, you were 23. Yeah, both 23. And then
it was 22. Oh, goodness me.
We'd been married for 13 years. You were still at uni. I was working as an emergency nurse at the hospital. And 18 months after meeting, we got married.
Yeah, I'd fallen head over heels in love with you.
My options were open. Just kidding. I remember thinking, you're very attractive.
Well, it's true.
I fell in love with your heart, and that sounds cheesy, but that first date we really talked about the plan forward, which is ironic because we blew that up a decade later. But we've always been a couple who've had
goals, had vision,
and
I
big vision.
Yeah, I think that was such a high value for me of having kind of monthly, 6-monthly, year, 5-year, 10-year goals. I was pretty good at hitting those goals as well.
Yes, yeah, well done.
We built the beautiful life.
Yeah, so like I said, we were married, had the 2 kids.
Pretty soon after being married, we had our first daughter 18 months after we got married, and the second one 2 years later.
And then we decided to move away. Oh, I got really sick with postnatal depression. So that whole time you started working at a healthcare practice, and I was really, really sick.
Yeah.
And
we renovated our first home in that season as well. And we were involved with beautiful community. And
yeah, it's great. It was wonderful.
It was wonderful. And there was so much going on behind the scenes that some saw, but it's always that challenge.
Yeah, I would say
so much in.
It was years of survival.
Yeah.
I was in a psych hospital for a while, and then we lived with your parents. And
so as we started to emerge from that season, we both had a deep desire to reconnect as a family and kind of redefine who we were as a family.
So we moved away.
Yeah, moved 2 hours away from our city.
Family and support network, and bought into a practice and
moved to the beach.
The dream. It was so incredible. It was such a miracle story. Yeah.
There were so many moments along that kind of 6-month journey where we were desiring to move up here, and then released it, and then stumbled across the most amazing business opportunity, and then the most incredible house, which then the day we moved in, we got the call that Isla got into the kindy just down like 200 meters down the road.
It was precious. But ironically, when you look back, I think we had just moved from one survival season to another, because now we were establishing a new business in a new community on our own, no family support or friends. So we were starting again, and building that business took a lot of time, but it felt like it was leveling out. I think if you had asked us, we were happy, and we were happy.
Yeah. For me, healthcare was always about people, not about a particular component of the body. Trying to see people meant that I started exploring all sorts of different avenues, started going down different lines of complementary medicine or allied health professionals. And one of my greatest joys was always connecting with other health professionals who were doing good things and truly trying to help people, not just fixing the symptoms. And so one of the things that I encountered a lot in my day-to-day practice was the emotional trauma that people were carrying, and that would show up in the way that they walked into the room. It would show up in physical symptoms. It would show up in emotional outbursts that happened. And so for me, I was kind of going, I've got to get a better grip on this. And
I think you'd also seen it was personal, because I had a lot of trauma when we first met. Our dating was you taking me to psych appointments. It was not a typical bubble of joy, our dating period, although there was so much healing and profound things that happened in that time. But the physical flow on effect in my own body from all of the trauma was impacting our life, every part of it,
your
really.
ability to wife and mum and just be you.
So I guess that's when you started doing...
Yeah, I started doing some coursework out of the States and connecting the dots for others, but then started having to do more self-reflection myself, and started to notice that my superhero status maybe wasn't quite what I thought it was. It was a great mask. It was a great way to operate for a season.
And it helped us. It helped us survive that season and thrive even in that season.
Yeah.
But I think, as I look back now, and I could see you just became more aware of what was internally happening. And I honestly think even if you hadn't have done that work, your body would have given out, because you were just carrying so much, and you have your own story. But I think I look back now, you were only sleeping a couple of hours every night. You weren't eating, exercise, things that you used to find enjoyment in, playing music, and you just weren't doing that. And I think looking at you, sometimes there was like a glassy-eyed look, and it was really, really scary. And so
Yeah. And in the midst of all of this, like, business was flourishing. We were at the point that we needed to expand the healthcare practice. We were like looking at different options there. We were like growing as a family and engaging more because the girls had started school and doing different things. And um, obviously, we'd moved through the whole COVID season as well, which impacted everybody in so many different
Yeah.
ways. And so, yeah, as my facade started to crumble, we realized that we were at a point that we needed to make some changes and recognized that we needed to move away from the business that we were in and ideally start afresh.
Yeah.
And
So we
so
sold it
we sold,
and thought
yeah,
we'd take a little holiday.
it was beautiful. It was kind
Uh,
of the perfect post-business sale holiday. It was
yeah.
idyllic. It
It was
was,
incredible, and it was a bucket list dream we'd had, and a good chunk of time with family, like just the four of us. And I think there was one moment we were on the sandy beach, Whitehaven Beach. If you know this beach, it's like
it's stunning.
the one of the nicest beaches in the world, and wins all the awards. And I just looked at you and said, "Life doesn't get any better than this." And you just looked at me and said,
I'm so broken.
And I think we knew we had to make some changes then. So when we got back home, we were trying to figure out what we would do, I guess. And it was very apparent that to heal, we could not do that where we were currently living. I don't think that's everyone's circumstance, but the circumstance we found ourselves in, we had to leave. We just felt like we needed to. So we went to the park one day and we were talking with a family down there
It's
who
great
needed
living in a little village like that.
Yeah, and there was a family down there who needed a rental for a year. And we thought, okay.
We could do a
So
year.
rented out the house. We sold a bunch of stuff,
Pack the rest up and put it in the roof and
left on a one-way ticket.
Yeah.
So then that was 3 years ago now. So we've been back in Australia for just over 6 months. Some of that we have been traveling as well. But now we're really settling in, and
there's been a settling in our spirits as to where and what we want to be doing and what we want to be pursuing. And a big part of that is conversations around what's brought us to this point and how we're realistically thriving.
And I should just say that so we did 22 countries, was it? With the kids for 2 years overseas. Some of the hardest moments of our life. Our marriage very nearly did not make it.
Yeah.
Our health, our mental health was at an all-time low.
Yeah.
We were often, that first year was basically all non-English speaking countries.
A lot of them totally culturally different.
So different. And there was such a beauty in that because it just created this bubble around us, but also it was tending to us physically, emotionally, and spiritually in a way that just was so outside our comfort zone. No family, obviously there was no family support or friends around us. We'd Zoom in, but we also noticed that healing really does happen in community.
Yeah.
It was necessary for us all to go on a journey, but that it is so much faster in community. And so we would Zoom with a couple of friends who we just were so raw and honest with and who held space so beautifully. And while we were traveling, I did my life consultancy training, which had a huge emphasis. It was all about emotional health and somatic work of releasing trauma from the body. And those years, the combination of travel, of discomfort, of leaning into risk and faith and being brave in spite of so much external turmoil and learning to create safety within ourselves and fight for our marriage and connect with the kids, it changed everything.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's suddenly like, oh, we've got it all together. It's just, I am filled with so much hope.
Yeah.
The desperation is not there.
And it's funny, like you say, changed everything. And it wasn't the external that changed, despite that changing rapidly as we changed accommodations every
But it
week
also
or so.
Inevitably changes your external world when you internally
and that's what I mean.
have
like
a big
our
shift.
Internal structures shifted. And it's funny, like one of the metaphors I found early on to help kind of describe the process we were moving through. It was like we'd built this perfect Lego set. Like, it was the box set, and you'd built the perfect house, and you had like the perfect little husband and wife and the 2 kids and the dog and all the nice little things by the beach. And then we got that Lego set and we picked it up and smashed it on the ground. And all the pieces went everywhere. And then we dumped a whole heap of other random colors and shapes and sized pieces into the mix, kind of picked it all up, and then we're holding it again going, what do we do with this? Like,
Yeah.
how do we move forwards? And so much of the time that we spent overseas was kind of starting to separate out little bits and go, oh, that's a piece that we want to keep. And that's actually not necessary anymore. We
Yeah.
can put that one away. And so coming back now, we're looking at how do we restructure and rebuild our lives in a way which
I think we've
really
already done a
reflects
lot
it.
of that. It's
Yeah,
just
well, we've done a
now
lot of the internal work.
playing it out in the physical, like the
Yeah.
busyness, and we're now homeschooling the girls, which before they were in a great private school here on the coast.
Yep.
Even just our daily rhythms and how we're doing family life has
Yeah.
completely changed. We have different priorities, different values. We protect our peace in a different way, and we do a lot of the internal work that before I probably would have needed you or a friend or a family member to like process
Yeah.
through, but it wouldn't quite get rid of it. And there is this concept of when you choose not to look at your pain, you live your life in this 8 to 10 out of 10 pain. It's
Yeah.
so because you're just trying to avoid it. But when you sit with it, yes, it is painful. But then it goes back to this like 6 or 5
or 4 or 3 and gradually reduces.
And we've seen that as we've sat with our story and understood the journey we've been on and the way we've both tried to survive the different traumas we've been through or just life events that everyone can relate to. There's been a shift, I think.
And by no means are we there.
No, but I think that's the beauty. And I think
Yeah.
the hope of this podcast is may you just see the humanity in us and the humanity in you, and that we are all on a journey. You never make it to the end of the healing, that there are twists and turns, and it's not linear. In healing, you go back, and in health, in wellness, in the whole being of us.
Yeah.
That we would be taking steps forward and steps back, but there's so much grace and compassion and kindness for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's such a funny thing, even the name, The Whole of Us, and how we stumbled across it. And I mean, I don't know whether you want to go into that story right now, but
I think for another time.
Another time.
Yeah.
That's okay. Wholeness, yeah, it's a funny word, but it's one that we've found so much peace in, because it's trying to get away from the perfect model that we thought we'd created before, or the hollowness that was there as well.
Yeah, I also think it means it's not just one thing, that it is just a compilation of, is that the word? How you say that?
Compilation.
Compilation?
Combination.
Compilation. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Of all parts of us. It's a little bit more complex and way more simple than we think.
Yeah.
And I think there's so much beauty in that. And there's a lot of room for error.
Yeah.
And a lot of hope in that.
Yeah.
So if you've found us today, we just hope you feel encouraged and excited that you can have the life that you've always dreamt of. I think that was something I was feeling probably very disconnected to our life, and just felt that this was as good as it gets. Yeah. And I don't think physically our life has changed. We're back in the same house we left, and it's incredible. And we're so thankful for where we live and the friends, but it's way more realistic and grounded.
Yeah. Well, there's a fullness to it. Like there's a felt presence to it now.
Yeah. Not all the time.
No.
That would be crazy if you could just live on this cloud and just meditate your way through the world. But like, it's real. I think we've gotten so much better at communication, at repair, at identifying what's internally happening. And we can't wait to talk through more of that. Some of the experiences we had overseas were profound and have marked us. Yeah. The homeschooling side of things, or world schooling, they call it. That's what we did while we traveled with the kids, how we're parenting.
Marriage has totally been redefined. Our internal worlds have been reorganized.
What we're doing in community. So if you've got questions, please forward them in. We would love to hear from from you. And if this speaks to you, or you're just interested in next week's episode, follow us, like us. You can find us and subscribe, but you can find us on Instagram as well.
We really appreciate it because we want to build more community around this. And I think that's something that we've loved in the social media space is the community.
Yeah.
I continue to sit in awe of the conversations that you've been able to step into with people because of the way you've shown up. It's precious. It's opened doors for people to express things that they wouldn't have otherwise. And so we don't want this to be like a one-sided conversation of us to you. It's meant to be a conversation back and forth. And so we're really excited to connect, as we have been with people all around the world.
Yeah.
It's a delight.
So listen along and see you next week.
Talk soon.